fears of Islam. We would take it from the top: 9/11, the London Underground bombings, Madrid, Mumbai, Mali, Bali, northern Nigeria, Sudan, Afghanistan, death for apostasy, death for blasphemy, death for adultery, death for homosexuality. Butcher those who insult Islam. Islam is not a religion of peace. There's so much to say about it, but like the command to beat her, I've seen Muslim women. I didn't stand up for you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, sahabat semuanya. Oxford Union adalah organisasi debat mahasiswa yang berdiri sejak tahun 1823 di Universitas Oxford di Inggris. Tempat ini terkenal sebagai tempat lahirnya orator hebat. Banyak tokoh besar dunia pernah berdebat di sini, mulai dari Winston Churchill, Dalai Lama, Malcolm X, Stephen Hawking, sampai selebriti modern seperti Morgan Freeman dan Ceci Terror. Oxford Union populer bukan hanya di Inggris. Banyak rekaman debatnya viral di sosial media. Dari topik politik, agama, kebebasan berbicara, sampai isu-isu sensitif yang jarang dibicarakan di tempat lain. Dan salah satu video yang viral adalah debat yang berjudul "Apakah Islam adalah agama yang damai?", yang disitu menghadirkan politisi sayap kanan Inggris Anne Mary Waters. Anne Mary datang dengan pandangan berlawanan. Alih-alih menganggap Islam agama yang damai, ia berpendapat bahwa ajaran agama ini terlalu ekstrim. Dirinya mencontohkan beberapa kasus seperti serangan 9/11, tragedi bom Bali, dan beberapa negara yang menerapkan hukum syariat ketat seperti potong tangan, rajam, atau hukuman mati bagi yang murtad. Perempuan tidak diberi kebebasan sehingga dalam pandangannya tidak ada kebebasan beragama dalam Islam.
Let me tell you what actually whips up fears of Islam. We would take it from the top: 9/11, the London Underground bombings, Madrid, Mumbai, Mali, Bali, northern Nigeria, Sudan, Afghanistan, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Yemen, Pakistan, death for apostasy, death for blasphemy, death for adultery, death for homosexuality, gender segregation, gender discrimination, unequal testimony between men and women in legal proceedings, child marriage, amputations, beheadings, imprisonment for being raped, anti-Semitism, burqas, execution, as I've said, for this, that and the other, the slaughter of Theo van Gogh on the streets of Amsterdam, death threats on the streets of London. Butcher those who insult Islam, Muslim patrols in East London telling people they are entering Sharia control zones, polygamous marriages, marriage not requiring the consent of the bride. This is what causes fear of Islam. It is not me, it is not my colleagues on this side. I'm under no more obligation to respect a woman oppressed in the name of Islam.
Seorang mahasiswa Oxford yang geram mendengarnya mencoba menginterupsi pernyataan dari Anne tersebut, namun tak dihiraukan oleh Anne. Ia melanjutkan pernyataannya bahwa ayat-ayat di dalam Al-Quran juga menurutnya telah mendukung kekerasan, terutama dalam berumah tangga. Dalam hal ini, ia mengutip surah An-Nisa ayat 34 yang berbunyi bahwa jika seorang istri dianggap nusyus, durhaka atau tidak patuh, maka suami boleh menasihati, menjauhi diranjang dan memukulnya. Itulah menurut Anne mengapa Islam bukanlah agama yang damai.
But I will finish just by saying this. There are hundreds of millions of peaceful Muslims. That is a fact. But that does not mean that Islam itself is peaceful. Peaceful Muslims interpret verses of the Quran so almost beyond recognition. It's reinterpreted, like the command to beat her. It's there in the Quran, and I've seen Muslim women try to dance around it. They put words in there that simply aren't there. That's what it says. It says beat her. And in the countries where the Quran calls the shots, that is exactly what they do. This is not peace. This is not justice. Islam is not a religion of peace, as the evidence shows us. Thank you.
Setelah giliran Anne selesai, mahasiswa yang diketahui bernama Matthew Henley itu kemudian mendapatkan giliran untuk berbicara dan membantah semua klaim kontra dari Anne yang menyebut bahwa Islam bukanlah agama yang damai.
On the opposition, we are joined by Anne-Marie Waters, a journalist and member of the Labour Party who has campaigned against the imposition of Sharia law in Western democracy. And I'd like to say to everyone speaking in tonight's debate, and forgive me if I mispronounce, Assalamu alaikum. The universal Islamic greeting, may peace be upon you. Now, in order to be able to cast Islam as not being a religion of peace and not conforming to those tenets, it is not enough for them to cite the actions of individual extremists who invoke the name of religion for their own goals in all religions. We can point to the example of the Lord's Resistance Army in Uganda, who claim the name of Christianity for their atrocities, and the actions of people like Baruch Goldstein, who attacked the Cave of the Patriarchs in the 1990s in the name of Judaism. All around the world and in all religions, people often seek to illegitimately hijack the name of that faith for their own violent and maniacal ends. Ladies and gentlemen, the actions of those people tell us absolutely nothing whatsoever about the character of the religion they invoke, and tell us everything about the individual and the individual alone. So I think, first of all, when we address the Quran in its totality, we see that it has an overwhelmingly peaceful character, okay? First of all, the very ideal of Quranic society is Dar al-Salam, literally the house of peace. Moreover, one of the fundamental pillars of Islam is almsgiving, is charity, is fellowship with your fellow man, attempting to do good unto others as you would like to have it done to yourself. Muhammad, in his very last sermon, said, "Hurt no one so that no one may hurt you." But moreover, I think that we can cast Islam as being a peaceful religion based on the change that it seeks to inspire on an individual level. Because it suggests that the choice to engage in Islam and to become a Muslim has to be a free one and has to be devoid of compulsion. And if you vote with the opposition tonight, you're buying into that rhetoric. You are telling people who follow the Islamic faith, you are telling Muslims what their religion can and cannot be, and that it must not be peaceful and must be violent. That is something which essentializes, and that is something that marginalizes. When you walk out that door tonight, you've got a choice between love and hate, between embrace and rejection, between peace and conflict. I hope you make the right choice.